organized.
It is, isn't it? I like it.
Is it for real?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not real. You know, the real thing is like this is the real thing. I used to have this as a virtual background.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it looks kind of real.
It does look very real. I was very impressed.
Oh, watch it then. So, so what we do in these things usually is like an improvised scene that usually someone gives a suggestion or something, and we kind of act it out and see what comes, and then we talk about stuff. So yeah, whatever you want, I'll try and be worthy of it.
Fine. Okay. That's an interesting accent you've got. Where is that from?
That's from Portugal. I'm Portuguese.
Ah, I would have had you at Canadian, actually.
Canadian. That's everybody knows I'm foreign. In all countries of the world, they know I'm foreign, but nobody pinpoints me from Portugal.
And Scot is not really a Portuguese name?
No, it's not a Portuguese name, not at all. It's it comes from a Monty Python sketch. Whereas there's the rabbit soup, or no, the rat pie, where there's Terry Jones and I think Eric Idle, and
Yeah.
goes, well, what do you have for dinner? So, well, it's a rabbit fish. Rabbit fish. So, well, it's got fins. And Terry Jones said, it's got fins. So I said, I was wondering, I need a stage name because my real name is Jose, and it's a lot boring. And
what's your real name? What's your real name?
It will be Jose, if you want to say
Jose.
Yeah, Jose.
Jose, lovely.
It is lovely.
Yeah.
But I was starting out as a comedy writer on Fiverr, and I thought to myself, these racist bastards will think, because I have a Latin name, they'll think, oh, this guy is not English. It's like, so yeah, I use that, and I kind of like it. And my first stand-up was the first time I went on stage when Terry Jones died. So that's
okay.
That's a kind of a, if you want to believe in it, like a legacy kind of thing. Yeah. If you're not arrogant at all, like one of the Pythons died that day, and I am the chosen one. If you want to see it that way.
You're carrying the torch.
Yeah, yes.
You're carrying the torch. I'm going to call you Jose because you.
Jose, call me Jose.
Yeah, you suit Jose. I think that's a much nicer name than Scot. Not that Scot's a bad name. I mean, I am Scottish, so Scot's a good name. But yeah. Jose, you look like a Jose.
Yeah, I can probably do. Call me whatever you want. I'm fine with that.
Oh, that's good. And so, Jose, so how long have you been doing stand-up then?
Well, for a year, more or less a year. I did my first. I went on stage first time a year ago, something like that. But I've been studying comedy and all the things before, and now I'm teaching stand-up, which is funny.
Amazing. And where are you teaching stand-up?
I am doing teacher training at the Greg Dean stand-up comedy thing in Los Angeles, but I'm in France. But and we're doing Zoom because they had some classes. I took the classes, and now I became a teacher there. I'm becoming a teacher there.
Becoming a teacher, that's fantastic. Isn't Zoom just wonderful? I mean, I've gigged in Seattle on Zoom, I've gigged in Los Angeles, and and you wouldn't travel there for 10 minutes not to get paid, would you?
Exactly.
So it's great. So what did you do before you became a comedy writer then, Jose?
I taught English, I taught Spanish, I was the manager in an organic food shop.
Okay.
And I did some receptioning and some waiting and some,
Where do you live? Where is home for you at the moment?
Toulouse in southern France, southwest France.
Oh, in Toulouse, how lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so much nicer than here.
Well, where are you?
I'm in Edinburgh.
All right, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
That was my last trip before lockdown. was Edinburgh. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it was
beautiful.
Independence Day. What I don't know what it was, but all the parade, everybody with the flags and going up the castle.
Oh, was that in December? Was that in December then? Was
I'm
it
not
for New
sure,
Year?
but I know it was good
Oh, St.
weather.
Andrew's Day, maybe.
I don't know when. I don't remember when it was. Well, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah, we went to a swingers club just to have a look, and dodgy people there.
You
That was
went
fun.
to a what club? A swingers club?
Yeah, no, I didn't actually get in, but just I don't know why it
Right.
came about, but they said, "Oh, let's have a look."
Which
And
one did you go to? Not that I'm familiar with them, but
yeah, no, of course not. Of course not.
no, no,
Of
no, no.
course you're not familiar.
But
I don't know. It was in the center, but
yeah, there's one called, I think it's called After Eight.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know.
I've never been, so
But it was funny. So let's have a look and see what's happening. It's empty. It's empty. There's no one. So can we have a look? No, you have to pay. So right to the. I'll be back later. And so that
you
was
never
the
went back.
Scottish experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw the cannons and stuff. Yeah, very nice.
So what's your comedy like? What sort of things do you do then?
Oh, I do. Well, I do mostly on command. Like I haven't been writing a lot with my own voice. I've been writing for people. I've been writing for I was supposed to write a musical. I am supposed to be writing it now,
Uh-huh.
and just injecting comedy into stuff.
Uh-huh.
And but what I like, it's kind of absurd, kind of wacky things and
Like,
satire and like
yeah,
straight face satire
yeah.
where I'm not that it doesn't I don't seem to be trying to make people laugh and or telling jokes or being jokey or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I know
yeah
I hate it when you tell people you're a comedian and they're like, oh, tell us a joke then.
yeah that was a joke. Well, there was your mother in a horse in a bar, and the bartender goes, "Hey, is this a joke?" I say, yes, it's a joke. Fuck off. That kind of thing. No, and here nobody says it because there are not many comedians or yeah stand up or whatever in France. So when you say you're a comedian, they say, oh, okay, I just made up the job. It doesn't exist. This is what a liar. So that's the kind of thing we get here.
And how
And
long have you been in Toulouse?
it's been 3 or 4 years now. Yeah, so I lived in Paris for a while. Then I
Uh-huh.
came down, and yeah, but there's nothing really happening in Toulouse in comedy wise or stand up comedy or something. It was like 2 shows a week at the
Right.
same time. Well
Oh,
done.
great.
Two
Yeah.
open two open mics a week at the same time, the same day. Well done there.
Why did you do that?
No idea. So I created my own comedy club. Said, well, I'll do it. I'll just because I was reading all this thing, and I'm translating to French a book by Scott Dickers, How to Write Funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he says when in one of the books he says, well, if you want to go on stage, make your own show.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll do that. So I started organizing things and to be able to go on stage whenever I wanted to go,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to wait in line like for 3 months or something to get a spot. So
Yeah.
yeah, but then lockdown and we did a bunch of shows, but now it's all stopped.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I took my car to the garage today because it needed its MOT done, and the guy, I flyer. So I did a show at the Edinburgh Fringe in 2019, and I flyered my garage man, right, and he still had the flyer there.
All right.
Yeah, and he said, Are you still doing comedy? How's it going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been doing it in Zoom." And he's like, "Oh." He's like, "Do you have to pay for that?" I'm like, "You can pay me if you want." So I think people have actually converted. There's a lot of people who are now watching so much stuff online that actually you can do Zoom shows which people will pay for.
Yeah,
And
we did a bunch here. We did a bunch, but again, I think it's the comedian who brings people. Hey, come and watch me, and his friends or her friends will come, And otherwise it's a bit harder to market this, but it kind of works.
It does work. It does work. I like it. There's a woman in Leicester. Well, I'm doing the Leicester Comedy Festival. It's 22nd, I think it is. No, that was last year. But I'm doing a spot this year for Judith Critchley, and as part of the Leicester Comedy Festival. And I did it for her a few months ago, and it was brilliant because you could actually A, see the audience, and B, hear them.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the nearest you were going to get to actually being in a room with live people, you know. And I really enjoyed it. Whereas when I did the gig in Seattle, you only saw the comedians.
Oh.
And you heard the comedians, but you didn't hear anybody else who was, you know.
I did one like that,
Yeah.
Dressed up as a priest.
You were dressed as a priest.
Yeah, I have a little priest thing. So I said, I'll dress up as a priest, and I won't even mention it. So I'm there, just dressed as a priest, doing my thing. And anyway, like
I think you look quite like a priest, actually.
I do, don't I? Yeah, kind of a priest. I shave and I wash. It would be a nice, decent kind of. It's Father Finn's, my priest character. Anyway.
What's his name? Sorry.
It's Father Finn's.
Oh, Father Finn, of course.
Father Finn, of course. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Because I love Father Ted. And, and stuff like that. So that's cool. But the thing with Zoom is that it's timing. You know, you throw out your joke. If you have a joke organized, like a one-liner or something, it's a joke, then nothing happens. Yeah. So fuck, that bombed. And when you go to say the next thing, maybe someone will laugh.
Yeah.
And why the fuck are you laughing now? I didn't say anything funny. And it's like this whole misunderstanding going. It's like when you watch the Stephen Colbert show and his monologue.
Yeah.
I'm Stephen Colbert's a late show, and then a joke. He pauses, nothing happens, and then he carries on. Yeah. And it's funny because with the live audience, people will be laughing and clapping during that time, but he just allows that to happen, and then he carries on. But it is weird. So poor thing. It's like bombing. But no, just saying the same as he was doing before, but with no audience.
Yeah, I learned that actually after the first couple of Zoom gigs, because I'm like, why are they laughing when I'm now talking about something else? And then I realized it was the time delay. So then now I've worked that into it. So I do my joke and I'm like, come on, laugh, guys, come on. What's the next joke now?
Yeah, exactly. So, laugh, you morons. And
so what's comedy like in Portugal?
Comedy in Portugal is, it's hard to say what it is. It's, I don't really know. Well, there was like one guy doing comedy and having a talk show. And I think for a long time, he was the source of comedy. This just one guy. He was the source of comedy. Then a few groups came along and did some different things, more satirical things.
Yeah.
But it was funny because there was this time where anything would go, like racist jokes, whatever stuff like that. Wow, that was fine. Well, in my hometown, the flag of my hometown has two Muslim severed heads on it and a horse.
No.
Yeah. And it doesn't shock anybody. So that's funny because the town is like this flag. There's a knight on a horse with a sword. There's blood on the sword, and on the floor there's the two heads of the Moors, a man and his daughter.
Yeah.
That he slayed to recover the town, and it went on the flag, and everybody finds that normal. That was fine, and. So, maybe
not to go to that town. Where is that then?
Yeah, that's cool. Everybody's cool with that. Children have fun. We don't care. So, which is funny because there wasn't this. Well, of course, there's stuff you can joke about and stuff you can't joke about because socially it would be it would be inappropriate.
Absolutely.
But well, I don't know. There's not really a Portuguese comedy. No, I wouldn't. It's a tough question. I have no idea. But
are they funnier than the French?
Are they funnier? Oh, French are boring. French comedy is boring. Oh man, it is boring. There's these techniques when you start studying comedy and performance and all that sort of thing. There's a French school which is not really a stand-up. It's more like an act where you are alone. You're a one-man show, one-woman show, and the way characters are portrayed in that, the comedian will say, "Hey, where's my car?" Say, "What? You destroyed my car? What do you mean my mother is a whore?" It's like the comedian is repeating the answers of the made-up character
Okay.
that the audience should be seeing.
Yeah.
And they tend to do that all the time. Say, why don't you just move to the side and play the other character?
Yes.
What's your problem?
Yes.
So it's like this formatted thing. And but stand up, it's kind of it's evolving here, so that's cool. But how about you? Tell me about you. We want to hear about you. And my dream is to do the Fringe. So I'll probably ask to stay over in your place to come and do the Fringe.
I'll give you very good rates, Jose.
There you go. There we go. That's the spirit. How was it, the Fringe? Doing a show at the Fringe was like a dream.
The first year I did a joint show with two of my friends, and then the second year I did about 11 dates, not the full run, and then the next year I did about 18 dates. So I gradually built it up. I'm very fortunate that I like talking to random strangers in the street, and I have no problem going up to them and saying, "Hello, my name is Lubna. Can I tell you about my show?"
Yeah,
and,
that's very good.
And so people like to actually be asked permission, right? So I'm not doing here, here's my flyer. You're actually saying, "Can I tell you about my show?"
Yeah.
And then they, they're in control of the conversation, which they love. And then I would say 90% would say, "Of course, tell me about the show." And 10% will say, "Oh, go away." And that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But when you ask them the question, then I think it's a much better way of doing it. So I love talking to random strangers, and you are your own marketing team, you are your business team, you are the performer, you're the writer, you're the cook, you're the chef, you're the bottle washer, you're everybody rolled into one,
Right.
And so I loved it. I really enjoyed it. The last time I did a solo show was exactly a year ago, when I did the Leicester Comedy Festival last year, and my show was called "Where Are You Really, Really From?" And then I was going to then do the whole run in Edinburgh. So of course, February 22nd, we heard a wee bit about COVID, nothing to worry about, says Bob. It's just a wee bug, don't worry about it, And then, well, you know what happened. So I've been doing stand-up. I trained in 2013. I did the Laughing Horse course. With the tutor was Lewis. He was brilliant. So I'm an actress, and I felt that it wasn't enough to be a Scottish Pakistani older woman actress. I needed like a USP, a unique selling point. And I thought, oh, why didn't I do comedy? And turns out I really enjoyed it, because it's like a monologue. You're just doing a monologue on stage that you've written. And you have to make it funny, but that's how I see it. And so what it's like for an actor, you're never really full-time employed. So in between, you can then perform on stage by doing your acting, by doing your comedy. So so I started off because I'm Pakistani, and people would always say to me, "Where are you from?" And it's really difficult. Sorry?
You give him the town. I'm from there. This is where I'm really from.
Yeah, you see, you don't know if they mean, the colour of your skin. Do they mean your accent, or do they mean what football team do you support? What do they mean when they say where are you from? Do they mean where you're born?
Yeah.
Do they mean what's your ethnic heritage? What's your background? And it's different depending on where in Scotland you live.
Right.
So in Edinburgh, I live in Edinburgh now, and if someone says to me, "Where are you from, Lubna?" In the very Edinburgh accent, Morningside accent, And I say, "Well, I'm from Edinburgh." And this one's, "Oh, no, where are you really from, Lubna?" Like, all right, okay, fine, I was born in Pakistan, I'm just like, "No, Lubna, where are you really from? And I'm like, what does she mean? You know, does she think I'm an alien? Does she think I'm a zombie? Does she think I'm American? Maybe she thinks I'm Kamala Harris. Who knows? You know?
Yeah.
And before I can say anything, she says to me, "You're from the West." And I'm like, no, Pakistan, geographically speaking, is in the East. And she's like, "No, Lubna, you're from Glasgow." So it turns out it's worse to be a Ouija, which is what they call Glaswegians, than it to be an alien zombie of Pakistani origin.
There you know?
So so I like to play on that. I think I like to play. So my comedy is very much things that people say to me. You know, I don't know, I seem to have this face that attracts idiots. You know?
Hey, look at me. Hey. There we are.
Yeah. And you know what it's like. And so I'm always secreting away in my brain when somebody says something stupid. I'm like, I think I will use that.
Yeah.
You know, and I have children, and they'll say really stupid things. You know, like so I cook, and they don't think I'm a very good cook, and I say, well, anything made with love is lovely. You know? And they were like, not when you poison them, Mum.
You know? Yeah, not if they don't live to appreciate the love and give the love back.
Exactly.
You know?
So it's quite interesting because I find a lot of the stand-ups now are quite young, including yourself. A lot of them are in their 20s.
Myself.
You know.
38. Not that young.
And you've got very good skin, obviously, Jose.
Exactly. Yeah, and the light.
Perfect lighting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I work mine out. Yeah. You know, so there are a lot of the comedians are young and, you know, in their 20s, maybe early 30s, and so their outlook on life is totally different. So, you know, the things that they talk about are totally different. But the people who tend to go to the comedy shows are slightly older, so you have to make sure your reference points are universal. You know, I remember I did that gig in Seattle, and I'm like, who's going to be listening? You know, and they're like, well, the world. And I'm like, oh, so you get a reference point for the world, right? Great.
Yay, dinosaurs. Yeah, Hitler.
Yeah. So so you have to. That's been the challenge, I suppose, of Zoom, is trying to write material that, you know, like, so I live in Edinburgh, and the nearest, like, you know, you always make fun of the nearest local towns, either Glasgow or maybe it's Dundee, you know. So I'll say, well, I've been on these dating sites and all the men are from Dundee. What the hell's wrong with women from Dundee? You know, and so but I couldn't say that in Seattle because there's a Dundee probably in America, you know, so there's no Dundee, you know, and they wouldn't know about it. So it's been quite interesting, I think, and quite challenging to do the Zoom calls because you're having to think much more creatively. But what is universal is culture, you know. So I can talk about my name, I can talk about my heritage, I can talk about what people think of me, and that's a universal thing. Everybody knows somebody who's Pakistani, you know. And everybody's got aunties, you know, and what did your auntie say to you, you know. I also do a comedy character called Auntie G. So in the Pakistani culture, we're very it's a very polite culture. So like my mum's friends, who are not our real aunties, we would never use their first name. So if you were my uncle, I wouldn't say Uncle Jose. I wouldn't say Jose Uncle. I wouldn't say that's disrespectful. I would say Uncle G, because G means dear, right? So I do this character called Auntie G, and she's got, like, you know, it's a tartan scarf that she wears. She's got the accent. She says, and she's like, hello, my name is Auntie G. I am the world's newest Jack show host and confidant. So people send me letters from all over the world, and I give them my sage advice. Not the sage, the cabinet sage. No, I'm too clever for them. My sage advice. So then I'll get a letter, you know, like Boris will have sent me a letter, you know. Or Dominic Cummings will have sent me a letter, and then Auntie G then responds, you know, and they're just like 2-minute clips. Because I found that when people are scrolling online, if you tell, I'm trying to do comedy, you know, they're looking for short, sharp stuff. So if you do 2 minutes, then, oh, that's funny, right, and then they move on, you know. Whereas I opted not to do, like, Leicester Comedy Festival this year is doing their stuff online, and I opted not to do that because whilst it's okay doing, up to 15 minutes on Zoom, I'm happy with that. To do an hour show where you're getting, very little feedback, unless the audience is there and you can see them, great. But if you can't and it's just you talking to a screen, I think it's a bit soul destroying.
Oh yeah, because you can't keep the critic off your back for that long.
Yeah.
10 minutes in, why the fuck are we doing this? Oh man, and that self-talk gets in there because you are alone, and then you start feeling ridiculous, which is stupid because you're a comedian, and you think, oh, this is not going anywhere. And if you see people, that's the problem, because you see people and you see that they see themselves, and most of the time they're just looking at themselves, seeing if they don't have any, objects coming out of their noses, or watching each other, or sometimes as the microphone goes on and they're ordering pizza, doing that kind of thing, or talking or making noise, and you go, all righty then. Well then, so it's really tough, I think. But it's if you can survive that, you can do a bunch of things.
Yeah, I think some people have probably developed their style now to suit Zoom. I'm just very positive and hoping that we'll be able to get back to doing some sort of live performance, at some point. So yeah, no, I really enjoy it. People say to me, why did I start doing stand-up? And I say to them, because I wanted to embarrass my children.
Exactly. It's a staple kind of thing for people, embarrass their children. Yeah.
Why did you do stand-up then? Why did you start stand-up?
Oh, because I realized that could be a living. I've been in love with comedy forever. Because I'm kind of a linguist. Language is my thing. And then, a couple of years ago, I said, hey, hold on a minute. I can live. This can be a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, so I'll do that. And I started. And of course, I always knew that whatever I would do in life would have an audience. But at first, I thought I would be like a university professor or something like that, or a teacher.
I can see you as a university professor.
Exactly. You see my little, I have the look. And so I started teaching people and doing lessons and stuff. And I always tend to gravitate towards teaching. I don't know why, but that's the thing. I learned that stuff for pleasure, and then sooner or later, someone comes along and wants to pay me to do the thing I learned for pleasure. It happened with languages. It happened with websites. It happened with stand-up. So I'll pay to have lessons. So, well, this is cool. I should share this. There's no things in French like I should share this. Hey, I'm doing lessons. Who wants to? And then 5 or 6, 7 people came and say, "Oh, I'll pay you. Teach me the same thing you just read. You're 1 page ahead of me. Just teach me." Oh, right, okay. So but it's
you're very lucky. You're very lucky. You obviously attract that into your life, don't you?
Yeah, it's because I just go for fun. I say, "Oh, this sounds like fun. Let's do this." And of course, comedy. And again, I went on Fiverr, and I said, "Well, this will force me to practice writing comedy." So I created a profile. Said, "I'll write comedy for you." And this was my first gig. Was like a year ago, and I did 220 gigs writing stuff for people.
Wow.
Jokes and stuff and stand-up and scripts and videos and stuff. And they just say, do this. I say, oh man, how do I find a joke here? Let's do this. And it's cool because I've been learning a lot, even if I haven't been doing all that much stand-up.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I don't know. I'm always doing stand-up. Everybody is doing. You always have a character when you're in mixed company. You always have a character that like your face, whatever. And I like that idea. Also because I don't like people. That's the thing with comedians. You like people, but you don't like people. Like the Seinfeld, his last special. He's there doing it, and someone goes, "I love you," and he goes, "I love you too. You love me. I love you. We will never meet. Best relationship ever." And it's true. And he says, well, you guys seen me, you knew I had a show in the 90s and that it went quite okay. So you know that being me, I could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Because he's a multimillionaire. But this is where I want to be with you, and that kind of tells people, say, yeah, this guy, he doesn't need this.
Yeah.
So why is he doing this?
Yeah.
It's because he enjoyed it. So I think that is why.
I think it's really important. I love being on stage. I love making people laugh. I love feeling their energy. You just, when the audience is with you and they're there and they're getting your jokes, it's honestly the best feeling in the world. I enjoy it probably more than acting. Maybe it'll be different if when you act on stage, but you're doing film, it's you're just doing a scene and then the next scene and the next scene. Whereas when you're doing something live and you just feel the energy, and it's magical. I love it.
If you're in the room, it's cool. If you're not in the room, it's kind of boring. You sometimes see people going there and they're round, they're doing their thing and their little choreography. Don't tell me that. And you go, okay. And then someone is on fire in the room. Someone is literally on fire, and they don't see it. They carry on, because say, hey, there's a person on fire in the fucking room in front of you. Don't you see it? And they go, no, I can't get away from my words. Otherwise, this show will be destroyed. Yeah. So if people are, or looking down, and you look down. Okay, what's the next joke?
Oh, I hate that.
Come on, just do something. So and I like niche kind of weird things. I did one gig, and I did the forgotten story, which was funny in the sense that it was a really bad bar where there was a kitchen behind us and people passing just next to the comedian. You're there with a microphone, and they're passing, going to get food. Back
I hate those games.
Yeah, and you're there. And so my thing was like an improv challenge. So asking, I would say something and ask someone in the audience a question. They would answer me, and the story would carry on. Like, oh, I was in a country. What country was it already? And someone goes, Australia. I say, yeah, I was in Australia, exactly. There was a kangaroo, and the kangaroo. What are you doing? Playing tennis. Yes, playing tennis. It was 15-0. When this, and then what happened? So people would give suggestions.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But being interrupted, it completely bombed. It was horrible. And at the same time you are there, you think, oh, this is going really bad. But you carry on and everything. And then I think the only laugh I got was when a lady, and of course the French audience is not an educated audience when it comes to stand-up. Like, I don't know, they think there is the fourth wall. They think you will either not see them or pretend you don't see them. So you are there, like 3 feet away, and they are talking to someone else, and you go, do you see me? Like this, and it's kind of weird, because if you would respect yourself, you wouldn't do the show. So look, you're talking to each other. I'm not going to interrupt that because I'm polite. Like you wouldn't go in front of a table where people are sitting and talking and say, hey, my horse is a moron. You wouldn't do that. You'd let them talk. And at the end of the thing, there was the 2 old ladies, and one goes, this was very bad. Like that in front of me.
Oh no!
And I said, yes, madam, it was shit. And everybody was laughing. That was cool. That was the laugh. Because I don't know, she like that. That was funny. So
different audiences from different cultures then respond differently then, don't they? I mean, you wouldn't get that. So if that happened here, in Edinburgh, and if someone was talking the way through my show and totally ignoring me, I would actually just stop the show and say something like, and see if they'd say anything. And then if they didn't stop talking, I'd say, do you want to share it with everybody else?
Yeah.
And I'm not embarrassing them, but it's like, it's not fair because everybody else is paid to be there. And then you've got these 2 morons in the front and just think that they're just there to chat, But I think the British audience is maybe used to used to.
That's kind of being.
Do you get hecklers? Do you get hecklers in France?
I did get one. Well, not a heckler. That one gig was funny because as I'm about to start and I'm going to talk about the Taj Mahal and Temples of Love and Shakespeare, all my act. That I only did it that once, but anyway, so I'm going there and as I'm the room quietens down and we hear the lady say to her, anyway, I don't like your fucking face, like saying that to the guy in front of her, and I go, so you don't like my face? And of course everybody was laughing. And again, in my act, I have specific bits where I can improvise. And of course, all the big laughs I got was from teasing that lady because she's, I'm not talking to you. Oh, are you talking to the guy? You came, your date. That was, that was fun because people will then think or feel that you are genuinely funny.
Yeah.
If you are reacting to something that has happened that you could not have prepared at home. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But then again, it wasn't the same bar and the guy comes with the drink and he's in front of you with his tray and you're there and you go, oh man. But anyway, so it's cool. You don't really get hecklers, but sometimes you start talking to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it was funny. I taught that to the students here. And a young kid is like 20 or something. And he starts talking to a lady and she goes, yeah. I taught him a bit of crowd work, how to do crowd work and all that. Mm-hmm. And ask for the job, repeat the answer, and then share a negative opinion you might have about the job. And he goes, hey lady, what's your name? She says her name. What do you do for a living? And she goes, I'm an animal behaviorist. And he completely, because he was expecting teacher, nurse.
Yeah.
Oh, animals. And then you have nothing to say. And then he went at her again, but of course, being an older woman, experienced and all that, and she said she had a rabbit, and as a dildo rabbit, and he didn't know what it was. Oh, you have a rabbit? Oh, you and your animals, right? Your animals, and everybody's like, poor thing, you still have diapers on or something, and you come here trying to be cool and being suave and yeah, that was funny. So a lot of stuff like that, but not really hecklers. The people won't say, "Shut the fuck up, go home." No, you won't get that.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't. I've not had that. But sometimes people do talk, or if they're really drunk, they want to take part in it.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a gig, and there was a lineup, and it was a Saturday night, and Celtic and Rangers are two big football clubs in Glasgow, and in the days when Celtic were doing well, they beat Rangers 5-1. So there were some Rangers supporters in for obviously therapy,
right.
And they just wanted to talk. Yeah. And they wanted to talk to the performer on stage. So this guy went on before me, and when you've got hecklers, there's a few ways to deal with them. You can try and really embarrass them, so they'll shut up, so you be really horrible to them basically, and everybody else laughs, and then they're embarrassed and they shut up. Or you can ignore them, or you can agree with them. So the guy went on before me, he tried to embarrass them, but these guys were so drunk, it went over their head. They just continued talking, and the guy he was opening, so it was a really, opener so important. You set the mood. Yeah. And then he was going on after him. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's just died. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I knew they were Rangers supporters because they told us they were Rangers supporters.
Yeah.
So I decided that I would, whenever they interrupted me, I would say, yes, you're absolutely right. And then I'd carry on, and then they'd interrupt me and say, yes, you're absolutely right. And the audience knew what I was doing, because when you agree with them, they then can't come back and disagree.
Sure.
Because that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't know improv, so didn't know yes and.
Exactly. Just yes. Oh shit. Oh, got me there.
I know. So I'm like, these guys will not know improv. I can do this. So anyway, I did it 10 minutes, and then we had the break, and they came up to me and they're like, I just wanted to talk to you, and I'm like, well, I'm here now. Talk to me now.
Let's talk. I want to talk to you, and I have something on my mind as well. Yeah.
So yeah, so we do get hecklers occasionally, but they're usually very drunk. But I think actually most people are quite polite because, you know, I usually tell them I'm from Pakistan, and I usually tell them I'm Muslim quite early on. Absolutely terrifies them. And they're like, she got a rucksack. She got a, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't know where I've left it, guys.
Yeah. And if you see me running.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. And they're like clapping politely because they're too scared in case I'll do something, and it's so funny. I just love it.
Did you not find that funny?
Oh, it's good. It is good fun. I really do miss it. But it's been a great opportunity though to write. I've tried to do quite a lot of topical, satirical stuff because our government has just been absolutely diabolical, you know. So there's so much we can comment about it, you know, like I don't know, do you know Priti Patel? Have you heard of her?
Patel, yeah, I think it says something, but
she's a home secretary. She's a home secretary. Right. She's about 4'2", right? Indian woman, right? 4'2". Boris Johnson is absolutely terrified of her. Absolutely terrified. I don't know why, right? But I think it's because she knows all the names of his children. And he's only said he's got 6, but she knows that he's got like 26 or something. Right. And she knows where they live. So maybe that's what she's got on him.
There's a power in there.
Yeah, but she was accused of bullying.
Wow.
She was accused of bullying her staff. And it went to an inquiry. And she said at the inquiry that, you know, well, you know, I didn't do it deliberately. It was accidental bullying. When I spat on them, it was accidental. I didn't mean to do this. You know, and anyway, she got away with it, right? So how do you tell that joke, right? Because everybody's going to say, "Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. She's a real bully. She's a real bully." So I would call her Cruella de Vil. You know, Cruella Patel, I would call her instead. Cruella Patel. So I was telling the story about her, and I said, well, so what's wrong with her bullying? I mean, I'm Pakistani. That's what we do on a Saturday night. What are we going to do now? You know, it's banned. So it's twisting it because everybody's expecting you to say, "Oh, that's really bad." You know, I'm taking the mickey out of Priti Patel. But actually turn it on its head.
Yeah.
You know, and I like sort of, you know, comedy's all about the left turn, isn't it? You take people down a path, and they're like, "Oh, I know what she's going to say. I know what she's going to say," and then you do something totally.
Yeah.
I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, well, it is kind of, when you do topical stuff, it's kind of hard to find an original angle or a different take on things, because that's and the problem is that people do topical stuff, but like shit, they're bad. How many? This one guy did something about the mask. Hey, the mask you wear the mask like this, not just hanging on one ear. Okay, I've seen that joke once.
Yeah.
But how many lame Facebook comedians did the same thing? Oh, the mask, hey, don't wear it on your head, it's not over your nose. Yeah, it's here. This is a okay. We've seen that joke. We've seen it. We've seen it 10 times already. So if you didn't come up with it, all right. You know, it doesn't work anymore. And of course, when it's something really like in France, it's because the president's wife is a lot older than him.
Yeah, she is older than him.
And then same joke. Okay, you know, bring something different. And sometimes someone comes, oh, you know, maybe she'll get the vaccine before him or something like that, or maybe I don't know, something that can be funny. Yeah. But it's kind of it's obsolete very fast when you do topical stuff.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
You need to be ready for that. You need to be able to produce quickly, to have all the techniques to come up with something that is relevant, because I don't know, here was a big scandal, the guy in Paris, the politician sending dick pics. Oh, send dick pics, big scandal. You know, he quit. 3 days later, no one was talking about it anymore. Now, if you use a reference now, only got a few people in the audience who read papers and stuff. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. And this was like last year. The time of history is so fast that if you do something topical, it needs to be like if something happened in the morning and the evening you're doing jokes of it on stage, you go, wow.
Yeah.
But then a week later,
absolutely. Yeah. So when I do my Auntie character, I had to produce a lot of material very quickly. So I was like doing one or 2-minute shows every week. You know, so I think I did like 12 because it's really time consuming having to write new stuff all the time, and then having to, you know, write new stuff and then film it and then get it out there, and it's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work.
So I haven't done Auntie for a while because I quite like being myself as well.
Yeah. Having a persona or you know, it is cool because you can write comedy for that character, and that is liberating because you can focus technically. You say, okay, this person, she thinks this and this is her, and I can write for that. Yeah. But again, after if you write for yourself and if you don't want to be mistaken between you and your character, then it's more deeper kind of thing.
So have you written any scripts, any short film scripts or any, you know?
I did, I'm not sure if they were films. I did, and I'm writing. I have a writer's room here. I'm organizing a bunch of things of people writing. But yeah, mostly, I did write some scripts, but I don't know what happened with those scripts. They write me a script. All right, here, goodbye. Yeah.
As long as you get paid, then that's
that's the thing. So they pay. All right, okay, cool. And it's surprising. But,
have you been watching Call My Agent?
No, I haven't.
Strange program. Yeah, it's a French program. It's on Netflix, and it's about an actor's agency. So
I think here they call it 10%. I think it's the. I don't know. Or maybe it's a different one. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's a. I wouldn't say it's a total drama, and I wouldn't say it's a comedy. It's like dramedy. So, you know, but it's really funny, and it's quite interesting because it's about 50 minutes long.
Okay.
Whereas in the UK, when we do something like that, we tend to make it like 23 minutes. You know, but I suppose it depends on adverts and things.
Sure.
But obviously Netflix, you're free of that, and it's really good. I just watched the first episode, and I was laughing out loud, and I thought, this is good.
Yeah.
So there's about 4 seasons or so. I don't know if it's still continuing. I've just started in season 1.
All right.
But it's good. I've never seen French comedy. I love French films. I love French films. I love European films, and so it's just, you know, like when in the days when we went to the cinema, right? And you go and see a French film and you'd be engrossed. I speak a wee bit French, but not. I understand more than speak. So I try to follow the French, and because your brain starts then thinking in French, and then you come out of the cinema and everybody's talking in English, and you're like, hey, what's wrong? I transplanted to a different planet, you know? Whereas when you're watching it at home on Netflix, you know, the phone's ringing, this is going on, that's going on, and it's not the same. You can't get engrossed in the same way, you know? But no, it's good. I recommend Call My Agent.
I'll have a look.
Excellent.
I'll have a look. All right, I'll have a look at that, and I'll come to you for advice on going to the Fringe, because that was my plan.
Well, you're welcome. Happy to help.
Yeah, I've been reading, you know, if you read Stephen Fry autobiography, you read Eddie Izzard's autobiography, you read, you know, you hear about Rowan Atkinson, everybody was in the Fringe, losing money. So you have to go there and make an ass of yourself. And it's I did fail at the Fringe. I did make it do a show in front of no one at the Fringe, and they go, oh, you did the Fringe. Oh, it's like a badge of like having a failed startup or something. If you want to be in Silicon Valley, you know, you have to. So well, thank you very much for this. This will be going on YouTube. Woo.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. It's lovely to meet you, Jose.
Yay!
Very nice to meet you.
Too.
Thank you for the offer.
Thank you. I'll turn this off. And hold on.